discussing a clear problem in the church is not the same thing as bad-mouthing her. Let's talk about it. Barry Smith here of YouChoose.Community, author, husband, father, pastor of 25 years, and a guy who truly believes the church is the hope of the world. And there's not much more that's needed around America right now, and the world for that matter, than hope. But let's first look at the definition of the church, because that's the hope of the world. Some would say it's just you and me. We're the church. The church is people, not buildings, and that would be true. But let's be a little more thoughtful in our definition. It has to have its source from the Bible. The Bible shows clearly the will of God in the Old Testament in the great commandment, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. Okay? Love God, love others. Got it. The Bible also shows the revealed will of God in the New Testament through the Great Commission to go into all the world and baptize and make disciples and that sort of thing and teach everybody everything I've ever said, and then I'll be with you. Okay, so there we got it. So we could come up with a biblical definition of the church and say the church is a spiritual family with Christ in the center as king who love God, love others, and make disciples who make disciples. That definition would be hard to rebut. It would just be almost impossible. So, did you notice that the definition taken from the Bible doesn't mention buildings, budgets, programs, or pastors? We don't have to have buildings, budgets, programs, or pastors to have church, to do church. They certainly didn't have those items and those people in the first century church, and we don't have to have them now. Nothing against them. So that brings us to the biggest problem in the church. I keep hearing it over and over and over with trusted people that I love. I struggled with it myself when I planted my church in California. I struggled with it in my youth ministry prior to that. It's not the first part of the definition that's the problem. The definition of church, that we love God and we love others. That most churches have that part down really well. Well, some churches have it down. But it's that second part that's so tough for almost every church that I've ever seen or been a part of, making disciples. Even worse than that, it's making disciples who make disciples. Ultimately, it's up to the individual to make disciples. The church can't control that. But most every individual looks at the church and says, how are we making disciples? Help me, help you. How do I join in this mission? How are we getting that done? Their heart is right. Their discontent is valid. Their complaint is justified. But what do we do about it? Well, that's why I started YouChoose.Community. This is a place where you choose how, when, where, and with whom you do faith. We can equip you to be incredibly effective in carrying out the definition of the church, a spiritual family with Christ in the center as king, who love God, love others, and make disciples who make disciples. I can all but guarantee that our format or our template for meeting, the meeting time, the order of service in these spiritual families, will equip you to be a disciple-making disciple, for real. And it doesn't need buildings, budgets, programs, or pastors. It's all about the three parts of the gathering: sharing, knowledge, and application. And each one of those parts is equally important. That is, if you want to be an effective disciple maker, it's imperative to spend the same amount of time on each element: sharing, knowledge, and application. Sharing is about loving accountability. Knowledge is about deepening your understanding of the Word. And application is about taking what you studied and coming up with a plan to do something that week because of what you studied. It's truly a beautiful thing. And as of the date of this taping, we have over 1,800 people in 175 house churches or Bible studies all over India and America. It's remarkable. And almost all of that has happened in the last year and a half. God is moving big time, and it's working. 84 of those 175 churches have been birthed out of the original churches. What I mean by that is we started 91 churches, and those 91 churches have started an additional 84 churches. That's the beginning of a multiplication movement, folks, of disciples who are making disciples. One of the biggest and most important failures of the organized church today, at least in America, is that they aren't making disciples. I get it. It's tough, especially the larger you get, but that still doesn't give us an excuse to just keep existing as a church, to keep missing the mark on the most important thing that we're called to do. So what do you do about it? Start your own house church, or start your own Bible study. I don't care what you call it. Or you can work with your church that you attend and let them know that you've got a cool format and you want to implement that format in your own church or in your own Bible study. Whatever you do, start making disciples. I put a link right here, or maybe it's right here, in the notes below as well, where you can watch the 3 parts of our house churches or Bible studies. Again, it doesn't matter what you call them. What matters is you do it. You'll love it, I promise. And if you don't have a church home or are looking for something different, consider doing church with your 11 closest family and friends and following our format. I mean, how cool would that be to do church with your 11 closest family and friends? Comment in the notes below or instant message me and I will definitely get back to you. And as always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. It helps us get the word out, and we need new subscribers to keep this channel going. And if you like our stuff, consider supporting us with a tip on PayPal or a tax-deductible donation at YouChoose.Community. Those links are below. So right now, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, ding, and share this thing, because no doubt someone you know probably needs to hear this. And again, if you're ready to think about starting your own Bible study / house church, comment below and let's chat. It's simple. You can do this, I guarantee it. Until next time, God bless.